Welcome to Crazy Enough to Win. I'm your host, John Grubbs. Welcome to the podcast. So today's topic, well, it's about going big with avoiding a major problem in most of our lives. And the problem, I think, afflicts everyone at some point in our existence. And the problem is so pervasive for some people that it limits the actual happiness or success or, just their fundamental quality of life. And the problem we're going to talk about today is excuses. How are excuses keeping you from what's important in your life? How are excuses keeping you from not only living a fulfilling life, but a life that lives up to your potential? So look, we're all experiencing fatigue. We're tired. We're exhausted. And fatigue is a physical or mental weariness resulting from effort, resulting from activity. And if you're like me, you are so tired of COVID-19. You're tired of isolation from others, and you're just exhausted by the fear of catching a virus in the middle of a global pandemic. I get it. I get it. You're tired of worrying about infecting other people. It's normal. And adapting to changes in routine proves to be problematic over time. And they've even given it a name. Whoever they is, call it pandemic fatigue. You could be experiencing pandemic fatigue. Another fatigue is also taking place in the minds of many business leaders. You are sick and tired of people using COVID-19 as an excuse for not performing in 2020. You've probably heard it. We would have had a good year if it weren't for COVID-19. Or I would have reached my goals if it weren't for COVID-19. Does this sound familiar? Too many people are using this virus as a crutch. Look, it's easy to blame or make excuses. We all do it from time to time. But when you make excuses, no matter how legitimate, you get stuck. You lose ownership of current reality, and you reach a roadblock on the path to whatever you define as success. You become seduced by rationalization. Seduced by rationalization. When the rational mind acknowledges and meets the truth in an excuse, guess what? You have just given birth to a rationalization. Yes, a rationalization is born. When the mind rationally acknowledges and meets truth in an excuse, you have given birth to a rationalization. And guess what? You can rationalize anything. These may sound familiar. You're just too tired to go to the gym or too afraid to try something new. You're just not good at networking. Or get this one. I cannot grow my business during a pandemic. Merriam-Webster defines rationalization, get this, as a way of describing, interpreting, or explaining something such as destructive behavior so that it makes it seem proper, even more attractive. We can all rationalize. I don't want to get up early. But I don't have time. I don't have time for whatever, but I still want to sleep late. It's a rationalization. Time is the biggest excuse I hear from people all the time. I don't have time. No, you choose not to make time. You choose not to go to the gym. You choose not to go back to school. You choose how to use your time. And rationalization allows you to avoid ownership of your current situation. And ironically, you can want something very much and still rationalize reasons not to work for it. You want to lose some weight, but you're too busy to exercise. You want to make more money, but you don't have time to take classes online. Look, your business lost money in 2020. Good. Get better. It's your chance to pivot. It's your chance to reinvent. It could be your chance to start over. You are smarter for the experience. You are healthier for failing. Taking ownership rather than making excuses is liberating. Excuses and blame are weights you carry each day. And the more excuses you make, the more emotional and physical burden you move into each new day. Your success or lack of success is your responsibility. Things will not get better by dwelling on COVID-19. Accept what has happened and move forward. Move forward. Your ego. Oh, our dreaded ego. Your ego can be the worst enemy. When it gets in your way, you look to other people and circumstances to blame. And you think about ego, it's how we see ourselves in contrast to someone else or the world. And you can blame someone for something for the current reality that you're facing. I don't believe that it's my fault. Sound familiar? It's not my fault. 3 powerful words. It's not my fault. Look, blaming a virus is simplistic. It's simplistic. But when you take ownership and move forward, it's difficult. So we avoid the difficult for what's simple. We avoid the hard for what's easy. When I was in the military, we called it embracing the suck. Sometimes things suck. Okay, let's move on. Instead of wallowing in the misery of COVID-19, why not develop a plan of attack? If you lost your job because of the pandemic, start a new career or look for a better company. Or get this, maybe it's time to create your own business. When I was young, I enjoyed shooting free throws in sequence. I wanted to see how many I could shoot in a row. I wanted to set a personal record for the number of free throws that I could make in a row. And whatever number I achieved, I would eventually fail. And yes, I'd have to start over. And when it was a good run, yeah, it did. It sucked for a moment. However, when I started over, I put the failure in the past. So you can look at 2020 and complain, or you can look forward to 2021 with excitement, with energy, with optimism. Wow. Look, here's the truth. Starting over is a gift. The past no longer constrains you. You have the experience that you lacked the first time. And taking ownership of your present reality means you get to choose the steps you take in the future. I work with a CEO that had to let people go during the pandemic when customer orders disappeared. It was the first time in the company's history that they laid people off. Tough decision. Do you know she is now building her team stronger and leaner with energy and optimism for the future? She's not dwelling on the misery of 2020. She's determined to make her company more potent in the future. Wow. You cannot control what happens to you in life. You can always manage your response. When I was young, I thought there was a lot of quicksand in the world. I remember the Tarzan movies and all these movies about that period. It seemed like quicksand was everywhere. And movies and television showed many people being consumed by quicksand in an awful, awful death. You know, as it turns out, quicksand is really quite rare and not near as deadly as portrayed by Hollywood. Excuses and blame are the real quicksand in the world. Once excuses catch you, you get pulled down by the heavy burden of blaming yourself or blaming others. And I want you to remember this. Attitude is the one thing we can always control as humans. We can always control our attitude. It doesn't mean we do always control it, but we can always control it if we choose to. And you can look forward to 2021 with a future positive mindset, or you can look back to 2020 with a past negative perspective. It is all your choice. It's your choice. Surround yourself with people who challenge you and make you better. I want you to listen to these words by Amy Vetter. Have you ever found yourself feeding off someone else's negative energy? Or have you found yourself avoiding a person because of all the negativity they bring into every conversation? Does that sound familiar? As humans, we often hold on to negative thoughts and experiences more than positive ones. Why is that? Why do we do that? Our energy is contagious. It vibrates through our bodies and gets shared with the people around us. And often, the negative state can be a pattern behavior that we have become used to and feels comfortable. Like our family before us. Maybe we had a mom that was that way. Maybe we had a dad that was that way. We have never known differently. You get that? There can be people that never know that they are negative energy producers. But I want you to get this. She goes on to say that it is something that over time we can unlearn. You just have to have people around you to help you see the blind spot. And it starts first by identifying if we are typically more negative than positive and choose to make a concerted effort to shift it. She said it takes work and daily practice. So I want you to hear my analogy. I use the particle analogy. Each day we get to choose our particles. You can wake up every morning and choose a neutron particle. That means you take each day as it comes. You are neutral. You can wake each day and choose the electron particle. That means you take each day with negativity. Things suck. Blame, everybody around me sucks. Resentment, everybody in my past sucks. Or excuses, I suck. That's the electron. My particle of choice is the proton. I attempt to leave positive energy on everyone I contact. I choose to live like a proton. I choose to live a positive charge. Is it easy every day? No. But I will tell you this, it's habitual. The more you live with positivity, the easier it becomes and the more normal it becomes. So here's my final message to you. Stop making or accepting the pandemic excuse. Stop it. It happened and it sucks. I want you to move forward with positivity and optimism. And remember this, as a leader, you get what you tolerate. As a leader, you train what you tolerate. And this might be the most powerful of all. As a leader, you deserve what you tolerate. If you are surrounded by people making excuses and you're the leader, you deserve every bit of it. Take ownership of your current reality and start over. Start over. I want you to think of this moment as day one of your future. So here's my request. I want you to share this episode with everyone you care about. I want you to share it on social media. I want you to share the link with others because I want them to hear this message about optimism for 2021. This is my Christmas gift to all my listeners, all my followers around the world. Share this. Subscribe to the podcast so that you get updates when I upload a new episode. Tell 10 people about this. This show is for people crazy enough to go against the grain, to go where others are afraid to go, to be different on purpose, to be anti-ordinary. That means ordinary is no longer who you are. You are anti-ordinary. You are living a life attempting to be different, to choose the path least followed. People like that are crazy enough to make magic happen in the world. And crazy people like to live in positive discomfort. If you want to learn more about me or get in contact with me, you can go to johngrubbs.com. There's a way for you to read a lot more of my writings, my blog, my books. You can even have a free book. I give away a free book at johngrubbs.com. You can reach me. I'd love to hear your questions, your response. I'd love to hear from you. This podcast is for people crazy enough to win. Until next time.